Multiplication is defined to be area of a rectangle. An area of a rectangle is length times width. I'm going to use a little dot to represent the time symbol. So I have 2 times 3, 2 by 3. There's my rectangle, 3 and a 2. If I have and look at the total, I get 6. So that's what multiplication is defined to be. We can multiply not just single digits, but multi-digits, and we're going to do it using the left to right partial product, and instead of partial sum and differences, we're now using a product. So if you look at the position, this 1 in here is not a 1, it's actually a 10, because my number is 18. And likewise, this 1 in this number, 13, is also a 10. So multiplying these numbers, 10 times 10 is going to give me 100. And then I'm going to go 10 times 3, and that truly is a 3. 10 times 3 is 30. And I move to my next number. 8 times 10 is 80, and 8 times 3 is 24. And the sum of these four numbers will give me the total, or my answer to my multiplication product. I'm not really so much worried about that. I'm more worried about getting some algebraic thinking involved. And so when I think of the number 13, I never think of it as 13. I always dissect it into that 10 plus 3. And when I'm thinking of the number 18, 18 is a hard number. 10 I can deal with, and 8, but 18 is much more difficult. If you look at this rectangle, I have 4 areas. I have a 10 by a 10, which is 100. No, it's not drawn to scale, but I can still see that that's 100. I have a 3 by a 10, 3 by a 10, which is 30. I then have an 8 by a 10, which is an 80. And lastly, in this bottom corner, I have a 3 by an 8, which is 24. And if you check, each one of these numbers appears in this area diagram. So this is a visual idea of what's happening when you multiply. Algebraically, we get a little tired of drawing pictures. And so what we're going to do is we're going to write our number 10 plus 3, and we're going to multiply it by 10 plus 8. And this is going to go to that distributive property that was introduced earlier. I'm going to take this 10 and I'm going to distribute it over addition to the next number 18, which is a 10 and an 8. So 10 distributed 10 is 100. 10 distributed 8 is 80. Now I have a second number I need to distribute, and that's a 3. The 3 goes to the 18, so I'm going to look at it as 3 times 10, and I kind of like to line these up in terms of their place values. And 3 times 8 is 24. So I get 100. 80 plus 30 is 120, and the 24. But if you notice, again, these four numbers, 180, 30, and 24, 180, 30, and 24, appear in all three methods. So by adding them up, we would get the answer. Again, I'm not so much worried about the answer, but the process. So let's try another one, recognizing that this is a 10 times a 30. 10 times 30 is 300. 10 times 2 is 20. 5 times 30 is 150. 5 times 2 is 10. Let's see if I take 32 and I dissect it into its parts, 30 plus 2, and 15 into its parts, 10 plus 5. Let's see that I don't get the same answer. In this first big rectangle, 300, 30 by 10, 2 by 10 is 20, 30 by 5 is 150, and 2 by 5 is 10. Lining up, all four numbers do appear. The distributive property would look like 30 plus 2 times 10 plus 5. Distributing the 30 first, 30 times 10, and 30 times 5. 2 times 10, and 2 times 5. All four numbers match in all three diagrams. And if I was to total those up, I would get the product. Let's try one more. 20 times 40. Now 20 times 40 is not 80, it's actually 800 because we're multiplying by tens. 20 times 2 is 40. 9 times 40 is 360. 9 times 4 is 36. 9 times 40, another 10, is 360. 9 times 2 is 36. Again, summing those will give me the total. Let's break it down so we can see what's going on geometrically. And this will build us to our algebra understandings. This would be 20 plus 9. Again, 840. 9 times 4, or 9 times 40 is 360, and 9 times 2 is 18. All numbers match. Oh, I think we have a mistake. 9 times 2 here is really 18. Now, notice they match. 40 plus 2 times 20 plus 9. Distributing the 40 to the 20 and the 9. And you can kind of see that's what's going on here. The 9 and the 20 are both being used by the 40. Again, I get the 800 plus the 360. 20 times 2 is the 40, and 2 times 9 is the 18. Again, all four numbers, all I would have to do is add those up. Again, it's not about the end result. It's about the process between so that we can build some algebraic understanding.